Public outrage boils over. Over 20 collective rights protests in China in 3 days. Appliances as cheap as cabbages, exporters desperate at Canton Fair. She emphasizes new quality productivity, begins backlash. Shanghai urban supermarket closes all stores, another famous supermarket falls. CCP inspection teams enter 34 financial institutions, experts analyze underlying reasons. Behind the record-breaking gold rush in China. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Public outrage boils over. Over 20 collective rights protests in China in 3 days. How hard is life for the average person in China? Over the 3 days from April 15th to 17th, social media reported over 20 mass protests across the country due to a variety of issues. These included demonstrations by workers, farmers, property owners, investors, and merchants, all aiming to defend their rights. Recent incidents include: on April 17th, investors in Lijin Group protested at the Zibo city government in Shandong, demanding their savings back. Several were detained by police after the group's boss absconded with their investments earlier this month. One netizen sarcastically asked if fleeing financial responsibilities is now endorsed by President Xi Jinping. That same day, residents of Hengsha village in Guangzhou's Huangpu district rallied to recover overdue temporary relocation payments from the local government, chanting for what they are owed. Online supporters urged solidarity, emphasizing that there is strength in numbers. On April 16th, in Guangxi's Pingnan County, villagers disrupted construction of a highway to protest the closure of their only road and drainage by local authorities, leading to brutal police crackdowns with multiple arrests and injuries. On the same day, on the 16th, in Fucking City, Fujian, workers from Fujian Jingwei New Fiber Technology Company Limited gathered at the city government to demand unpaid wages. Meanwhile, in Suizhong County, Hulidio, Liaoning, villagers blocked government offices, frustrated by a 23-month wait for land compensation. In Shenzhen, parents protested school zoning issues at the Luohu district government, facing arrests, while a netizen noted that such efforts rarely succeed due to lack of developer funding. In Fangchenggang, Guangxi, on April 16th, homeowners of a stalled building project were halted by police during their protest at City Hall, asserting that their losses would be addressed by the socialist system, a claim met with skepticism about government repression. On April 15th in Suizhou, Hubei, over 100 investors demanded repayment of overdue loans from Yulong Water Supply Company at City Hall, highlighting a systemic issue where companies can declare bankruptcy but individuals cannot. Also, employees of Tangben Tang Hot Spring Story in Dalian, Liaoning, sought unpaid wages from their local government. In Tianshui, Gansu, homeowners were arrested while protesting an unfinished real estate project at the Chengdu district government office, underlining ongoing tensions between citizens and local authorities. On April 15th in Liang County, Pingdingshan, Hunan, over 100 sanitation workers blockaded the county government's entrance, demanding their overdue wages. Recent protests in China have included strikes by dental workers in Shenzhen, investor demands in Shanghai, and land clashes in Nanyang. Elsewhere, disputes over unpaid rents, wages, and property management have sparked protests and violence in Hunan, Jiangsu, Guangxi, and Shandong. A notable incident in Chongqing on April 15th and 16th saw homeowners protest against parking fees, disrupting local traffic for 2 days. Police intervention led to arrests, inciting further protests from the community, who demanded the release of the detained. The situation escalated when additional police forces were called in, resulting in several injuries among the protesting homeowners. The protests indicate a society fraught with injustice under CCP rule, where the government neglects the needs of its citizens, leaving no room for grievances to be heard. Despite suppression by the police involving arrests and assaults, societal discontent and conflict continue to grow. Appliances as cheap as cabbages, exporters desperate at Canton Fair. According to a Reuters report on April 17, the 135th China Import and Export Fair, known as the Canton Fair, is currently taking place in Guangzhou, Guangdong, amid a significant drop in profit margins, creating a gloomy atmosphere. Mr. Wu from Foshan Tongxing Import and Export Company noted a sharp decrease in profit margins, from 2% to 0.5%. He said, "Our appliances are now as cheap as cabbages. If this continues for another year or two, we may have to consider changing professions." Despite reports of China's economy growing by 5.3% in the first quarter, the fair's mood remains subdued due to a major decline in exports in March and ongoing economic and political tensions between the U.S. and China, exacerbated by global conflicts. The fair has seen a 20% increase in foreign buyers since last October, but the sentiment is still cautious. Mr. Fan, a manager of an outdoor heater manufacturer in Jiangsu, reported a lack of optimism in European and North American markets, with a major client cutting orders by 25%. Concerns over stability under U.S. Presidents Biden and Trump were expressed by Pan Feng of Jiaomen Jinhuan Electric, reflecting broader anxiety over U.S. and European criticism of China's industrial policies, which they claim create global overcapacity and drive down prices excessively to unmatchable levels. At a recent congressional hearing, U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai discussed the Biden administration's review of new strategies to tackle issues with China, including the possibility of imposing trade sanctions to counteract threats from China's supply chains and reduce U.S. reliance on Chinese imports. Tai highlighted the negative impact of China's non-market policies on American workers and companies. The administration is considering launching a new Section 301 investigation and reevaluating existing tariffs to achieve these objectives. They are also reviewing petitions from 5 U.S. unions requesting a new Section 301 investigation into China's alleged unfair practices in maritime logistics and shipbuilding. U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen also recently warned China's Xi Jinping about the global risks posed by China's aggressive exports and investments in technologies like electric vehicles and solar panels. Yellen's remarks, along with Tai's, suggest that the U.S. may be considering further investigations into China's trade practices under Section 301. She emphasizes new quality productivity, begins Backlash. In an article published by Nikkei Asia on April 17, Donald Low, a senior lecturer at the Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, criticizes Chinese President Xi Jinping's emphasis on new quality productivity to strengthen the economy. Low argues that this focus inadvertently increases the risk of overcapacity and escalates the potential for a full-blown trade war with the U.S. and Europe, while also starting to undermine the Chinese Communist Party. According to the Wari report, if Beijing continues to overinvest in manufacturing, Chinese banks and the government themselves will face the consequences. The Wall Street Journal's April 17 report under the China Shock 2.0 theme echoed similar concerns, indicating that China's strategy to flood Western markets with cheap, high-tech products poses both a security threat and competitive pressures, with detrimental effects for China itself often overlooked. Despite surpassing economic growth expectations for the first quarter, China faces persistent issues with overcapacity, which could harm its own economic stability. The manufacturing sector's capacity utilization dropped to its lowest level since 2015, at 73.8%, indicating reduced pricing power and mounting profit pressures. This trend suggests that unless there is a quick rebound in external demand and domestic economic strength, investments in sectors like manufacturing may need to be curtailed. Moreover, the specifics of capacity utilization in key industries such as automotive and electrical equipment are concerning, with significant declines noted. These sectors, which include electric vehicles, semiconductors, and solar panels, are central to China's strategic economic plans despite controversies abroad. Notably, automotive manufacturing utilization fell below 65% in early 2024, marking a steep decline from previous years. This situation underscores the financial burdens that could fall on Chinese banks and the government if excessive investments continue without corresponding returns. Amidst historically low bond yields and interest rates, overall borrowing in the economy, excluding government bonds, decreased further in March. If profit pressures restrict investments in sectors focused on new quality productivity, CCP may need to implement fiscal policies to maintain economic growth. The report indicates that the CCP might continue directing excess savings into manufacturing, potentially exacerbating overcapacity issues. The financial burden will likely fall on Chinese banks and the government, rather than just on China's trading partners. In related news, there are concerning developments regarding China's major state-owned banks. Fitch Ratings downgraded the outlook for 6 state-owned Chinese banks to negative on April 16, including the Industrial and Commercial Bank of China, China Construction Bank, Agricultural Bank of China, Bank of Communications, and Postal Savings Bank of China. The revision reflects concerns about the government's ability to support the banking sector under stress, despite its commitment to backing state-owned banks. Fitch had previously downgraded China's long-term foreign debt outlook from stable to negative, highlighting increased risks to China's public finances as it transitions from a real estate-dependent growth model to a more sustainable approach. This revision suggests that China's capacity to provide exceptional support to these banks has weakened. Shanghai urban supermarket closes all stores, another famous supermarket falls. As China's economy continues to struggle, Shanghai City Supermarket, a well-known retailer of high-end imported goods, announced the closure of all its locations on April 16. The supermarket, which started in 1995 and grew to 10 stores across Shanghai, cited unsustainable financial losses as the reason for its shutdown, despite efforts to salvage the business. The parent company, Shanghai International Business Development Company Limited, will start liquidation procedures to ensure all financial obligations to employees are met, including wages and severance payments. In response to the closures, customer service representatives from City Supermarket indicated to the paper news that the decision was unavoidable due to ongoing losses. Online discussions among Chinese netizens suggest that the supermarket's decline may be linked to increased e-commerce competition and the departure of expatriates during Shanghai's 2021 COVID lockdowns, which significantly reduced its customer base. Commenters also view these closures as indicative of larger economic troubles in China, including foreign investment pullback, falling real estate prices, and rising unemployment. This sentiment is mirrored in the skepticism towards the Chinese government's recent claim of a 5.3% GDP growth in the first quarter, a figure widely dismissed as nonsense. This closure and public reaction highlight the broader disillusionment with China's economic stability and the discrepancy between official economic figures and real market conditions. CCP inspection teams enter 34 financial institutions, experts analyze underlying reasons. The Chinese Communist Party is grappling with significant economic issues, prompting the launch of inspection teams across 34 financial organizations, including the central bank and various ministries, with inspectors already stationed in 17 units. The information was reported by CCTV on April 16. Experts contend that the primary goal of these inspections is to uphold political objectives, not to address financial risks. Economist Hing-Ching Li from the Washington Institute for Information and Strategy describes the financial situation as beyond control, with ongoing economic decline exacerbating existing risks. U.S.-based political scientist Huntao Wang points out that these inspections focus more on ensuring political conformity than fighting corruption, especially as financial sectors under economic strain must prioritize long-term professional practices over immediate political needs. The People's Bank of China states these measures aim to strengthen adherence to Xi Jinping's financial policies through rigorous oversight and enhanced political loyalty. Li remarks on the deteriorating state of China's governance system, with Xi using both overt and secret inspections to secure allegiance from even his followers. Moreover, Wang adds that despite the dire economic situation, Xi is reluctant to implement economic strategies proposed by former Premier Li Keqiang, aiming instead to align policies more closely with his own directives. behind the record-breaking gold rush in China. Amid a booming international gold market, gold prices in China have skyrocketed, reaching new historical highs. This surge is primarily attributed to China's central banks significantly increasing their gold reserves. Over recent months, gold prices have steadily climbed. Following this trend, Chinese A-share gold-related stocks have shown robust gains since early April, with several stocks hitting their daily maximum price limits. On April 7, data from China's State Administration of Foreign Exchange revealed that since November 2022, China's central bank has increased its gold reserves for 17 consecutive months, totaling 72.74 million ounces by the end of March 2024. This increase in central bank gold acquisitions has sparked a notable rally in the Chinese gold market. The demand for gold, including both jewelry and investment-grade bullion, has surged. Major banks and gold institutions have responded by actively selling gold, which has led to continuous price increases. Additionally, smaller gold items, accessible to those with limited funds, have gained popularity, particularly among younger consumers seeking financial security. Globally, central banks' substantial additions to their gold reserves have been the key driver of rising gold prices. According to David Rosenberg of Rosenberg Research and Associates, this trend reflects a revaluation of gold as a reserve asset amid geopolitical uncertainties and an unstable macroeconomic environment. This perspective is widely supported by industry insiders in China. Chinese market dynamics have been influenced significantly by the Chinese central bank and gold ETFs, which have seen net inflows, contrasting with outflows in other countries. Despite these outflows not affecting gold prices adversely, ongoing purchases by China's central bank and domestic investors have maintained strong market performance. However, the gold market in China is not without its risks. There have been closures of both state-owned and private gold retailers in Beijing, and issues with online gold sales, including claims of impure and counterfeit products. Concerns about the authenticity of gold, even when purchased through reputable banks, have heightened due to corruption. Recently, Shenzhen took the lead in requiring buyers to register with their legal name to purchase gold products exceeding 20,000 yuan, about $2,800. This model may be implemented nationwide in China in the future. Mr. Qin Peng, a Chinese political and economic analyst based in the United States, said on April 11 that the risk of China's physical gold being plundered is also increasing. He said, the Chinese authorities' requirement for quotas and legal name registration raises concerns that, like many years ago, when China was sanctioned for military provocations against Taiwan, there may be forced sales of gold at low prices. Mr. Qin also believes that gold has long been detached from currency and no longer has the inherent value for preservation and appreciation. This wave of skyrocketing gold prices can only be attributed to speculative trading. With gold prices continuously breaking historical records, many Wall Street professionals also believe that there is a large speculative component. The rising trend may continue, but the magnitude is limited, similar to buying stocks at high points, which increases the risk of price corrections and losses. Let us know your thoughts on today's topic by leaving a comment below. If you found this video helpful, please share it with a friend. It inspires us to continue creating more quality and reliable content. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more interesting insights from China Truths. Thanks for tuning in.